The research base was quiet that morning. Metal halls, bright lights, and the soft hum of machines filled the air. Most workers were busy with their own tasks. Only one person worked silently near the energy pipes, Evan, the human technician. He was not strong like the alien warriors. He was not tall, not glowing, not loud. He was just normal. But everyone in the base knew one thing. Evan never fought back, even when aliens teased him. Even when they insulted humans. Even when they pushed him around. He simply continued his work with calm, steady hands. Today, however, someone else was watching him. Her name was Rixa, a proud alien warrior. Famous for her strength, known for her fearless voice. And known even more for one thing: she loved to bother humans. Especially Evan. Rixa stood behind him, arms crossed, eyes glowing silver. She looked at him like he was a puzzle she did not understand. Other alien warriors whispered from a distance, waiting to see what she would do. Rixa stepped closer. She tapped her metal stick on the floor. Clink, clink. A slow, annoying rhythm that echoed in the quiet hall. Evan didn't react. She poked the stick against his shoulder. He ignored her. Rixa raised an eyebrow. She poked him again. Still nothing. Not a single word from the human. Rixa smirked. "Oh, still quiet?" she said, her voice cold. Humans really are boring creatures. The aliens watching laughed. Evan continued tightening a bolt, calm as always. Rixa's smirk faded. She did not like being ignored. She poked him again, harder this time. Evan's tool slipped from his hand and hit the floor. He finally stopped working, but he still didn't. "Look at her." Rixa walked around him and bent down so her face was close to his. "Are you deaf, human?" she asked. Her silver eyes shone with challenge. Evan simply picked up his tool and continued working. Something inside Rixa twitched, a strange irritation, a feeling she was not used to. She grabbed his collar and pulled him back slightly. "Look at me when I speak." Slowly, very slowly. Evan lifted his eyes. His expression was calm, empty, unmoved. Rixa's breath stopped for a moment. Why wasn't he afraid? Why wasn't he reacting like other humans? The aliens in the hall stared, waiting for the explosion. Rixa pushed him lightly with the metal stick again. A final poke. A final test. This time, something in Evan snapped, but not with anger, not with shouting, not with fear. Something older, something instinctive. Something primal inside him woke up. He stood up quietly. Rixa stepped back without meaning to. She didn't understand why. Evan took one step toward her. Then another. The air in the hall became heavy, silent, suspenseful. Aliens watched with wide eyes. Evan reached out, not with violence, but with a slow, deliberate motion. He grabbed Rixa's wrist. Her heart jumped. Her breath locked. His grip was not painful, but firm, strong, unshakable. Rixa opened her mouth to speak, but before she could say anything, Evan pulled her hand toward him, and he bit her. Not a brutal bite, not to injure her, but a firm, controlled bite, a warning, a claim of dominance, a human instinct deeper than words. The metal stick fell from Rixa's hand. Silence filled the hall. Every alien froze. No human had ever done this. No human had ever dared. Rixa's eyes widened, not from pain, but from shock. The bite lasted only 2 seconds, but it felt like a thunderstorm inside her chest. When Evan finally released her hand, she stepped back automatically, her face turning warm with confusion. She had been trained in combat since childhood. She had fought beasts twice her size. She had defeated warriors stronger than steel, but no one had ever bitten her. The aliens whispered furiously. He bit her? The human bit Rixa? What does that mean? Is he insane? Rixa felt her cheeks burn. She stared at her hand like it had turned into something new. Her heart raced in a way she had never felt before. Evan simply turned around. and quietly continued working on the pipes. As if nothing had happened. As if the entire hall hadn't witnessed the most shocking moment in months. Rixa touched her hand again. Her voice trembled, confused and strangely soft. What was that? But Evan said nothing, and that silence, that calm dominance, felt louder than any roar. Rixa swallowed hard. Something inside her had changed. She didn't understand the feeling. Was it fear? Was it anger? Was it respect? Or something else? One thing was certain. The human she once thought was weak was not weak at all. And this small bite, this single shocking moment, was going to change both of their lives forever. The Pouty hall was still quiet long after Evan returned to his work. Aliens whispered from every corner, confused and shocked. No one understood what had just happened. No one except Rixa, and even she did not fully understand it. She stood frozen, staring at her hand as if it belonged to someone else. The place where Evan bit her felt warm, too warm, not painful. Not injured, just different. Rixa was a warrior, trained for war. She knew the meaning of every gesture, a salute, a bow, a challenge. But a bite, a human bite? There was no guidebook for that. Her pride shook. Her heartbeat picked up speed. Something inside her chest felt strange, like a small spark struggling to ignite. She took a step toward Evan again, but stopped. Her feet refused to move any closer. Why? Why was she hesitating now? Evan kept working silently, as if she didn't exist. His calmness, it bothered her. It bothered her in a way she had never experienced before. Rixa finally cleared her throat. A small, awkward sound. Human, she said quietly. Evan didn't look at her. Rixa's jaw tightened. She wasn't used to being ignored, not by anyone, especially not by someone weaker than her. She stepped closer again, this time slowly. Human, why did you do that? Evan finally turned his head slightly, not fully. Just enough for her to see one calm, steady eye, and in that eye, there was no regret, no fear, no weakness. Just a silent message. Stop pushing me. For the first time, Rixa felt something she had never felt in her life. She felt small. Before she could say another word, the commander of the base entered the hall. A tall alien with glowing red marks on his skin. General Vorak, a strict, emotionless leader. He saw the crowd. He saw Rixa standing stiffly. He saw Evan working silently. What happened here? Vorak demanded. One of the alien soldiers stepped forward immediately. General, the human bit Rixa. A wave of murmurs filled the hall. Vorak's expression hardened. His eyes turned toward Evan. You bit a warrior? He said coldly. Evan didn't look up. He simply answered in a calm voice. She kept poking me. Rixa swallowed. Her cheeks grew warm again. Vorak looked at her, surprised. Is this true? Rixa hesitated. Everyone had seen what she did. Everyone was waiting to hear her say it. If she told the truth, Evan could be punished. Humans had no rights on this base. A bite could mean imprisonment. Or worse. But for some reason, Rixa felt something twist inside her stomach. Punish him? For reacting? For standing up? No, she couldn't let that happen. She was not poking him, the soldier argued quickly. She was pushing him around. Vorak glared at Rixa again. Well, explain. Her pride fought against her heart. Her voice fought against her mind. Then suddenly she said the one sentence no one expected. He didn't bite me. The hall exploded into whispers. Evan paused, his hand tightening slightly on his tool. He didn't turn around, but the movement showed he hurt her. Vorak frowned. I saw your reaction. Your face says otherwise. Rixa forced her shoulders straight. It was an accident, she said. He slipped while working. His head hit my hand, that's all. Everyone stared. Rixo, warrior known for brutal honesty, was lying. For a human, Vurek eyes narrowed. Very well, he said. No punishment. Then he left the hall, leaving silence behind him. As soon as he was gone, the soldiers began whispering again. Why did she protect him? Rixa never lies. Is she scared of him? No, maybe she likes him? That can't be, she hates humans. Rixa ignored all of them. But her heart was pounding hard. She turned toward Evan again. He was still working, still quiet, still acting like nothing had happened. Rixa stepped closer once more, this time softer, this time with caution. You owe me, she said quietly. Evan didn't answer. I saved you, she insisted. You should at least look at me. Slowly, Evan lifted his head. Their eyes met for the first time without anger, without challenge. In that moment, Rixa understood something terrifying. She had no control over this human. Not anymore. Not after the bite. Not after she lied for him. Rixa stepped back, confused by her own feelings. Evan, on the other hand, didn't seem affected. His voice was low and calm. I didn't ask you to protect me. Those words hit her harder than any punch. She clenched her fists. Then why did you bite me? She whispered. Evan gave a simple answer, so simple, yet so powerful. So you would stop. Rixa's breath caught. There was no fear, no apology, just pure, natural dominance. She had challenged him again and again, and he had ended the game in one move. For the first time in her life, Rixa didn't have a comeback. She walked away slowly, holding her hand close to her chest. Her mind flooded with thoughts she had never experienced before. And as she left the hall, one thing became clear. This human, this quiet, boring human, had just changed the rules of her entire world. The next morning, the base felt different. Whispers floated through every corridor. Every alien had the same question on their mind. Why did the human bite Rixa? Why did Rixa protect him? And why was she acting so strange now? Evan didn't care about any of this. He woke up early, drank his recycled water, and went straight to the machinery zone, like every other day. Calm, steady, focused. But someone else was already there. Rixa. She stood near his workstation, arms crossed, her silver armor reflecting the blue lights of the hall. She looked like she had been waiting for hours, though she would never admit it. When Evan walked in, she straightened slightly. But he didn't look at her. He walked past her and picked up a datapad. Rixa blinked. He didn't greet her. He didn't glare at her. He didn't even acknowledge her. He just started working. Rixa took a slow breath. He really was different from any human she had ever met. Most humans jumped when she entered a room. Most became nervous. Most apologized even when they weren't wrong. But not Evan. He was simply calm. Too calm. Human, Rixa said, trying to sound strong. Evan didn't answer. She tried again, louder. Human, I'm talking to you. Nothing. Rixa stepped closer and stood right beside him. She was taller than him, stronger, and trained for battle. Normally, her presence made humans shake. Evan didn't even glance at her. Rixa felt a strange tightness in her chest. Why was she the one feeling nervous? She leaned slightly forward. Why are you ignoring me? She asked. Evan finally spoke, in his soft, steady voice. Because I'm working. Rixa blinked again. He didn't speak with fear. He didn't speak with disrespect. He just stated a fact. Her jaw tightened. No one ignores a warrior, she said, sharply. Evan finally looked at her, not with anger, not with fear. Just a calm, unbothered gaze. You poked me for days, he replied. Now you want attention? I don't owe you anything. The words hit Rixa like a shockwave. No alien would dare speak to her like that. Not even warriors of her own rank. You. She stuttered. You should be punished for speaking like this. Evan shrugged. Then report me. Last time you lied. Rixa's cheeks burned again, something that never happened to her. I only lied because... She stopped. Why did she lie? She didn't know. Something inside her refused to expose him. Before she could continue, a group of alien soldiers entered the hall. They noticed Rixa standing near Evan and immediately whispered among themselves. One of them, a tall alien named Sarek, smirked. "Still following the human around, Rixa? Has he tamed you already?" Rixa's eyes flared with humiliation. Before she could respond, Evan spoke first, calm, steady, sharp. "She annoys me. I'm not following her." The aliens stared. Evan wasn't afraid to speak in front of them, not even when they outnumbered him. Sarek laughed loudly. "A human with a mouth? Amazing. Want to say that again?" Evan looked at him, expression blank. "No." Sarek stepped forward. "Why not?" Evan replied. "I don't waste time arguing with people who aren't useful to my work." The hall went silent. Rixa's eyes widened. Evan wasn't challenging Sarek. He wasn't insulting him. He was stating a truth like an engineer analyzing a broken tool. Sarek's face turned red with rage. He raised a hand to strike Evan. Rixa moved instantly. She grabbed Sarek's wrist mid-air. "Touch him," she hissed, "and I'll break your arm." Sarek froze. "Rixa, he insulted me." "Yes," Rixa growled, "and you deserve it." Everyone stared. Rixa had never defended a human in her life. Sarek jerked his hand away and glared. "This is not normal, Rixa." "Leave," she commanded. Sarek and the others slowly backed away, whispering furiously. As soon as they left, Rixa turned toward Evan. "You didn't need to talk like that," she said softly. Evan looked up. "You didn't need to protect me." Their eyes locked. Something unspoken passed between them, a tension thicker than steel, a confusion deeper than space. Rixa quickly looked away. "I wasn't protecting you," she lied. "I was teaching them discipline." Evan's voice was dry. "Sure." Rixa hated how her heart reacted to that word. Why did she care what he thought? She took a step back. "Human. Evan, why are you different?" Evan didn't answer. Immediately, he tightened a bolt, checked a panel, wiped dust from his hand. Then he said, "Because I don't bow." Rixa's breath caught. Simple words, but powerful. She had lived her entire life being bowed to, but no one had ever refused her. No one had ever ignored her. No one had ever resisted her in such a quiet, unshakable way. The bite, the stare, the calm voice. Who was this human? Rixa's heart beat faster. She turned away quickly before he noticed, but she knew something was happening. She was no longer the hunter. She was becoming something else. Someone who wanted to understand him, watch him, study him. Evan didn't know it, but Rixa had decided something. She wasn't going to leave him alone anymore, not because she wanted to bully him, but because she needed to know. Why didn't he fear her? Why didn't he bow? And what else was he hiding? The human had quiet strength, and quiet strength was far more dangerous than loud power. The base alarms echoed softly that afternoon, a low sound meaning only one thing. Training arena session. Warriors trained there every day, but humans were never allowed inside. It was too dangerous, too brutal, too alien. Evan usually avoided it. He preferred quiet places filled with wires, tools, and machines. But today, something strange happened. As he walked past the arena doors, a voice called out behind him, "Human." Rixa. She stood there wearing full training armor, silver plates, glowing lines, and sharp shoulder guards. Her eyes looked different today. Focused, intense, almost nervous. Evan stopped but didn't turn around. "What do you want now?" he asked calmly. Rixa walked closer until she stood right behind him. "I want you to come inside." Evan finally faced her. "To watch?" "No," she said quietly. "To fight." Evan stared at her for a moment, calm, expressionless. "What will I gain from that?" he asked. Rixa swallowed. She didn't know how to answer. She wanted him there. Not to hurt him, not to bully him, but because something in her chest was restless. She wanted to understand him, test him. Feel that strange energy again, the same feeling she had ever since the bite. You refuse everything, she said. So I want to see if you refuse this too. Evan tilted his head. A small, almost unnoticeable sign of irritation. Fine, he said. Rixa blinked. She had expected him to refuse. To walk away, to ignore her again. But he agreed. Why? Why was this human so unpredictable? The arena, when they stepped inside, the entire hall turned silent. Aliens filled the seats above, whispering quickly when they saw Evan walk in beside Rixa. Human? Here? Is she serious? This will be funny. He'll run away in seconds. No, she would not bring him unless something happened. Rixa tried to ignore the stares. Her chest felt tight. Evan stood in the center of the arena, looking around with calm eyes. He wasn't scared. Why wasn't he scared? Rixa stepped forward and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. Human, face me. The crowd roared. Evan sighed. Softly. I told you I don't fight. Rixa stepped closer. No weapons, no real hits. Just movement. Evan looked at her again. You want to provoke me again? Rixa felt heat in her cheeks. She hated how easily he threw her off balance. No, she said. I want to understand you. The arena became quiet. Evan blinked slowly. He didn't expect that answer, but he said nothing. He simply lifted his hands in a defensive stance. The match began. First move. Rixa moved first, fast, smooth, warrior-like. She swung her arm toward Evan's shoulder. He stepped aside calmly. No panic, no hesitation. Just a simple, perfect dodge. The aliens gasped. Rixa tried again, this time quicker. Evan moved again, a quiet step back, a tilt of the head, an easy avoidance. Rixa's eyes widened. He wasn't fighting. But he wasn't losing either. She tried a sweeping kick. Evan hopped lightly over it. The arena roared louder. Even Rixa's own comrades stared in disbelief. Is that really a human? How is he moving like that? He's not even trying. Rixa felt a strange excitement rise inside her. This was the first time someone moved like she couldn't predict. She attacked again, faster, harder, sharper. Evan dodged every hit with the same calm silence that drove her crazy. Finally, she managed to touch his shoulder, barely. Evan looked at her hand on him, then looked into her eyes. She froze, because his eyes said something without words. If I wanted to stop you, I could. Rixa stepped back, breath heavy. What was he? How could someone so quiet be so fast? Rixa made one last attempt, a charged jump aimed at knocking him back, but Evan stepped aside, grabbed her arm, and gently pulled her down with controlled force. Rixa landed on the ground, but not painfully. It was a clean, smooth, technical takedown. The crowd gasped. Evan stood above her, still calm, still quiet. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't showing off. He just stood there, as if he had been trained to do this his whole life. Rixa stared up at him, chest rising and falling. He was not dominating her through strength. He was dominating her through control, through calmness, through something older and deeper. Evan released her arm and stepped back politely. You said no real hits, he reminded her. Rixa sat up. Slowly. Her heart raced. She wasn't angry. She wasn't embarrassed. For the first time in her life, Rixa felt respect. Deep, genuine respect. The ending. When the session ended, the arena was silent. No one laughed at the human. No one mocked him. They watched him, the same way they watched powerful warriors. Rixa walked beside him slowly as he left the arena. You're not normal, she said softly. Evan replied without looking at her. You kept pushing. I showed you how to stop. Rixa felt her chest tighten. That calm tone, that unshakable confidence. Why did it affect her so much? Why did she like it? Before she could speak, Evan added, next time, don't challenge me unless you're prepared. Rixa inhaled sharply. He didn't say it to provoke her. He said it because he meant it. Because he believed it. And that scared her more than any enemy she had faced. For the first time in her life, Rixa realized she might not be the one in control anymore. The rest of the day moved slowly, but nothing felt normal anymore. The arena. Fight changed everything. Alien warriors whispered whenever Evan walked by. Some looked impressed, some looked confused. But a few looked angry, especially the ones who hated humans. Especially the ones who believed aliens were born superior. Especially the ones who couldn't accept that a quiet human had pinned a trained warrior in front of the entire base. Among them was Sarek, the same alien who tried to confront Evan earlier, the same one Rixa stopped. Sarek wasn't just angry. He was humiliated. And humiliation is dangerous. Rumors spread fast by evening. Rumors had spread across the base. The human is stronger than he looks. He embarrassed Sarek and Rixa. He moves like a trained fighter. Maybe humans are not weak after all. These whispers frightened some aliens and filled others with hatred. In the dining hall, Sarek slammed his hand on a table. He humiliated us. He growled. He humiliated Rixa, our best warrior. He needs to be put in his place. 3 other soldiers nodded darkly. He must be hurt, punished, taught fear again. Sarek's voice dropped to a whisper, full of venom. Tonight, when he's alone. No witnesses. And so the plan was made. Rixa's unease far away in the training wing. Rixa sat alone, polishing her armor, but her movements were slow and distracted. She kept replaying the arena scene in her mind. Evan's quiet steps, his calm dodges, the way he moved without fear, and the way he pinned her so easily. Her face warmed just thinking about it. But then her expression shifted. Something felt wrong. She couldn't explain it, but her instincts kept whispering. Something is coming. Something dangerous. Rixa was a warrior. Her body could sense threats before her mind understood them, and right now, her instincts were screaming. She stood abruptly. Why am I thinking about him? She muttered angrily to herself, but she knew. The answer, because he was different. Because he didn't bow. Because something about him made her heart beat faster. And because if something happened to him, her chest tightened sharply. No. She didn't want to think about that. She shook off the thoughts and decided to check the night patrol schedule. That's when she overheard it. A whisper. A plan. A name. Evan. Rixa. Froze. Aliens in the corner were whispering. He'll walk through the maintenance hall tonight. Good. That's where we'll strike. Break his legs, make him crawl. No one will know. Rixa's eyes narrowed, glowing with rage. She stepped forward silently, her voice low and deadly. Say that again. The aliens turned pale. Rixa, we didn't see you. You won't touch him. She growled. He deserves silence. Her voice cracked like a whip. If you harm him, she said slowly, dangerously, I will personally throw you out of the airlock. The aliens fled, but Rixa's heart didn't calm. They would try again. Cowards always try again. She had to find Evan. Evan's walk into danger. Meanwhile, Evan finished his late repair shift and walked through the maintenance hall. He didn't know about the danger. He didn't know he was being watched. He didn't know that Sarek and 3 soldiers hid behind the shadows, waiting to strike. Evan walked calmly, hands in his tool belt, mind focused on tomorrow's tasks. He didn't hear the footsteps behind him. He didn't see the glowing eyes in the dark. He only realized something was wrong when a cold voice whispered, human. Evan turned slowly. Sarek stepped out of the shadows, smiling cruelly. So calm, Sarek sneered. So fearless. I hate that. Evan sighed. I don't have time for your ego. Sarek's fist tightened. Then let me fix your attitude. 2 aliens stepped behind Evan, blocking the exit. A third stood to the side, holding a stun baton. Evan's breathing stayed steady. He looked at the 3 attackers, then at Sarek. He didn't panic. He didn't back away. He just whispered, "You're all cowards." Sarek's rage exploded. "Get him!" The aliens charged forward, but something hit them first. A blur of silver armor. A roar of fury. A warriors. Battle screen. Rixa. She crashed into the first attacker so hard he flew against the wall. She grabbed the second by the throat and slammed him to the ground. The third tried to swing his baton, but Rixa caught his wrist and twisted until he screamed. In seconds, all three were defeated. Evan blinked once. Impressed despite himself, Rixa stood between him and the attackers, breathing heavily, eyes blazing like molten metal. "Are you hurt?" she demanded. Evan shook his head. "No." "Good," she muttered. "Because I would destroy every one of them if you were." Sarek stared at her in horror. "You're defending him again. He's a human." Rixa stepped toward him slowly. "And I am a warrior," she growled. "And this," she gestured to Evan, "is someone you do not touch." Sarek trembled. Rixa leaned close, voice sharp as steel. "If you come after him again, I won't stop at breaking bones." Sarek ran. The moment after the battle silence settled in the hall, Rixa turned toward Evan. Her anger faded, replaced with something softer. Something she couldn't name. Evan looked at her calmly. "You followed me?" Rixa swallowed. "Yes," she said quietly, "because I felt something was wrong." Evan studied her face. "You saved me." Rixa looked away, cheeks warming. "You saved me first," she mumbled. "In the arena, you held back. You didn't hurt me." Evan didn't respond. Rixa stepped a little closer, not as a warrior, but as someone unsure of her own emotions. "I don't know why," she said softly, "but I won't let anything happen to you." Evan held her gaze for the first time. Something warm flickered in his eyes too. The maintenance hall fell silent after the attackers ran away. But inside Rixa's chest, silence did not exist. Her heart pounded. Her palms felt warm. Her breath was uneven. She had fought in dozens of battles, faced deadly creatures, survived harsh training. Yet nothing felt like this moment, standing in a dim hallway with a human she couldn't understand. Evan stood quietly, his expression calm as always, but his eyes, they were different now, more focused, sharper, watching her closely. Rixa forced herself to speak first. "You should not walk alone at night," she said softly. Evan raised an eyebrow. "I walk alone every night." "Not anymore," she insisted. He didn't respond immediately. He simply studied her, the warrior who once bullied him, now standing in front of him like a shield. Rixa suddenly felt embarrassed. She looked away and folded her arms, trying to sound serious again. "I only protected you because I can't stand dishonorable attacks." Evan replied calmly, "And because you didn't want me to get hurt." Rixa froze. Her cheeks warmed again, a feeling she hated, a feeling she never experienced before he appeared in her life. Before she could answer, Evan stepped forward. "Why did you really come?" he asked. Rixa swallowed. She could lie. She could pretend. She could say it was duty. But something about Evan made lying feel wrong. So she spoke honestly. "I heard their plan. And I felt something." She lowered her voice. "Something telling me to find you." Evan nodded slowly. He didn't look shocked or confused. He just looked thoughtful. "Your instincts saved me," he said. Rixa blinked. "Instincts?" Yes, that was the word she felt but couldn't say. A sudden chill. The hall lights flickered suddenly. A cold breeze brushed past them. Rixa's warrior senses heightened immediately. She reached for her weapon and scanned the shadows. "Something is wrong," she whispered. Evan turned slowly. A faint scraping sound echoed from the far end of the hall. Not footsteps, not voices. Something else. Rixa's eyes narrowed. "That is not Sarek." Evan didn't look afraid. He stepped slightly closer to her. "What is it?" "A hunter drone," Rixa said quietly. A machine programmed to eliminate threats silently. Evan frowned. I thought those were only used outside the base. They are, she whispered, unless someone disabled the restrictions. Evan understood immediately. This wasn't a random attack. Someone wanted him dead, and they were willing to break the rules to do it. The scraping sound grew louder. Rixa moved in front of him again. Evan touched her arm. You don't have to protect me. She turned her head sharply. Yes, I do. Why? Rixa hesitated. Then said the truth she didn't fully understand. Because I don't want you to disappear. Evan looked at her for a long moment. Something softened in his expression. Just a little, but before either of them could speak, a metallic blur dropped from the ceiling. The hunter drone, the machine, landed with a heavy clang, 6 metal legs, glowing red eyes, sharp blades instead of hands. Rixa shouted, "Behind me!" But Evan didn't move back. The drone charged. Rixa blocked its strike with her armored arm. Sparks exploded outward. She gritted her teeth and shoved it back. The drone skidded across the floor, but recovered. Instantly, Rixa jumped between it and Evan again. Stay behind me, Evan's voice stayed calm. No, what? She snapped. He stepped beside her, not behind her. Side by side, equal, unafraid. Rixa's heart jumped. The drone lunged again. Rixa swung her blade. Evan grabbed a metal pipe from the wall. The machine attacked with blinding speed, but now 2 figures reacted. Rixa slashed left. Evan struck right. Their movements were different. One warrior trained in combat, one human moving with instinct, yet somehow their timing matched perfectly. The drone tried to stab Evan with a blade arm. Rixa kicked the machine away with a roar. Don't touch him. Evan grabbed the fallen drone's leg and twisted. Metal cracked under his grip. Rixa stared. Humans weren't supposed to be that strong, but Evan wasn't normal. Not at all. The drone recovered and lunged one final time, straight toward Rixa. Evan stepped in front of her. He took the blow on his metal pipe, the impact shaking the hall. He pushed back with surprising force, making the drone stumble. Rixa moved fast. Slash. Her blade sliced through the drone's core. Sparks burst in every direction. The machine collapsed in molten pieces, twitching and dying. Silence returned. Aftermath. Rixa stood there, breathing hard. Evan stood beside her, calm as always, holding the broken pipe. Rixa stared at him, chest tight. You stepped in front of me, she whispered. You stepped in front of me first. He answered. Her cheeks warmed again. I'm the warrior, she said quietly. I should protect you. Evan lowered the pipe. When someone attacks, we protect each other. Rixa's heart skipped. Those words, they felt like something more, something deeper, something she wasn't ready for. She took a slow step closer. You are not what I expected, she murmured. Evan looked directly into her glowing eyes. And neither are you, Rixa exhaled shakily. She didn't know whether to be angry, or grateful, or something else entirely. All she knew was this: she would not let anything happen to him. Not ever again. The remains of the hunter drone still smoked on the metal floor. Small sparks flickered like dying stars. But Evan and Rixa didn't move. They stood close, too close, the quiet after a life-and-death fight wrapping around them. Like a heavy blanket. Evan finally spoke first. Someone sent that machine to kill me. Rixa didn't answer immediately. Her jaw tightened. Her hands curled into fists. Yes, she said softly. And I will find out who. Evan watched her. Her eyes were sharp, bright with fury, yet something softer glowed beneath it. Something she usually hid from everyone. He took one step toward her. You protected me tonight. Rixa's breath caught. I told you. I don't like dishonorable attacks. That's not the only reason, Evan said calmly. Rixa felt her throat tighten. Her voice dropped to a whisper. No, it's not. Before she could say more, Shouts echoed from the hallway. Guards, leaders, officials. In seconds, the entire area filled with high-ranking aliens. General Vorak stepped forward, eyes blazing as he scanned the destroyed drone. "This was restricted tech," he roared. "Who did this?" Then he saw Evan and Rixa standing protectively in front of him. "You?" Vorak shouted at her. "You knew this human was a weakness. Why defend him? Why stand with him?" Rixa didn't bow, didn't flinch, didn't step aside. Her voice was sharp as steel. "He is not weak." Murmurs spread, some shocked, some frightened, some angry. Vorak glared. "You defend a human in front of your own people? Explain yourself, warrior Rixa." Rixa lifted her chin. "He saved me in the arena. He fought beside me tonight. He does not bow. He does not break. He has strength I cannot understand, and I will not let anyone harm him." Gasps echoed across the hall. No alien had ever spoken for a human like that. Vorak turned toward Evan. "You step forward." Evan did. Calm, steady, the same silent confidence that drove Rixa insane. Vorak studied him for a long moment. "You survived a warrior's challenge. You survived a night ambush, and you survived a hunter drone." Evan didn't reply. Vorak's voice grew deeper. "Do you know what it means? When two individuals fight side by side and protect each other's life?" Evan frowned slightly. "No." Rixa froze. She knew. Every warrior knew. It was an ancient rule, older than the base, older than the planet, older than their culture itself. Vorak announced it so loudly the metal walls vibrated. "It means you are now a bonded combat pair." The hall erupted in shock. Aliens shouted, "That cannot be. She bonded with a human? This breaks every tradition." Rixa's heart raced. Bonded pairs were legendary. Two fighters linked by instinct, trust, and battle. Not romantic, not forced, but powerful, unbreakable. Evan blinked once, confused. "What does that mean exactly?" Rixa turned toward him slowly. Her voice trembled, just a little. "It means we fight together now. We protect each other. We watch each other's backs. Your life is connected to mine." Evan absorbed the words. He didn't react with fear or shock. He simply said, "Then I'll protect you too." Rixa inhaled sharply. Something warm spread in her chest, something she had never felt. Vorak raised a hand. "The bond is sealed by battle. It cannot be undone." A long silence followed. Rixa looked at Evan. He looked at her. Two different worlds, two different species, two different lives, connected by one bite, one fight, one instinct. Rixa took a step toward him. "Evan," she whispered, "this is not just a rule. This is a promise." Evan's voice was low, steady, unshakable. "Then we keep it together." Her heart jumped. For the first time in her entire life, Rixa felt small. Not from fear, but from respect. She bowed her head, not as a warrior to a superior, but as a fighter acknowledging her equal. "I trust you," she said. Evan stepped closer, lifting her chin gently. "You don't have to bow to me." Rixa whispered back, "You never bowed to me either." A quiet moment passed, a moment that felt like gravity shifted around them. Then Rixa gave a small, rare smile. A smile she didn't know she could make. Vorak announced the final words of the night. "From this moment on, human Evan and warrior Rixa fight as one. Let all enemies beware." The hall echoed with those words. Evan and Rixa stood side by side. An impossible pair, a new force, a silent warning to everyone watching. And as Rixa looked at Evan, she realized something dangerous. She wasn't just protecting him anymore. She was proud of him, and the galaxy would remember the night a human and an alien warrior became something no one expected, a bonded alpha pair.